Hey legends, and welcome to the Thursday Sesh by Celtic Down Under. I'm your host Jared, and joining me tonight are Willie and Jared. Dan will be here later potentially. So, how you going, Willie?
Hi, I'm doing okay. I've got a bit of a confession to make. My name is William, and I'm an addict. I'm addicted to listening to Rangers podcast post hand scalpings. Hearing the pain in their voices gives me a slight dopamine hit, which I can't just top. The addiction eased off somewhat during the pandemic, but it's just come as well as come back to normal. So is my addiction. It got so bad that I actually listened to a podcast today featuring Charlie Miller and Bob Malcolm, and I was delighted with it. The pain in their voices too.
Oh my God. You started off the pod with that. This isn't a therapy session, but far out, Willie. I was going to congratulate you for the job you did last week on the pod while I was away. And now you said that, and I'm like, put him in the bin. Get on with it. Hey, how you doing, Jared?
Good. I have also spent all week listening to Rangers podcasts and watching Rangers YouTube. But to be quite honest, I actually feel bad for them. I done it for fun, but some of them I'm just, oh, you actually seem like a decent person, and like kind of feel a bit bad. But it's not like I want you to do any better. But
yeah, it's like what I said on the pod a few weeks back, without that weird analogy that was said. But it's like, if you're a Rangers fan and you just support your team, I can understand the frustration. If you're one of those knuckle draggers who end up out the front of Ibrox abusing them, as funny as those videos are, as much as I love laughing at the guy in the black puffer jacket, yeah, suffering your jocks to that lot. There you go.
Yeah. So like those people, like they're the reason the team's not going to do well going forward, because now the players don't want to play for those. But like someone mentioned the Rangers Rabble podcast, that's one that I've been listening to, and the guy that hosts that, he actually seems like a nice, decent person, and he's one of the ones I feel bad for.
The funny thing is, like, during the 10 in a row season, when they beat us and won their first top flight trophy and everything under Gerrard, doing the pod that season was hard. But I think what they're going through at the moment is, like, especially after that game, is the realization that their team is absolute rubbish, and it's hard to just go along with things and get it all sorted. And I'm looking at it for us when we were struggling. It was like there was that realization that hit you at a certain point, and you're just like, we're not gonna win this season. Oh, this is torture. But we still got to front up and do the pod week in, week out. So yeah, it was a bit of an interesting one, all things considered. So haha, that's all I have to say to him. But yeah, I've watched a couple as well. But I'm not a full flown Rangers podcast addict like Willie, but we'll get there.
It must be hard on either side though when like you lose, because if you lose one of these games, you have to then go and do your post-game analysis and all that sort of stuff. But your viewers are going to go up, and it's because 80% of them are the other. the people who watch it aren't the fans of your team. They don't want to hear about it. It's the ones that want to hear your misery and pain and leave crappy comments. I haven't had to deal with that yet. Thank God, but
it's good fun.
It's
good fun. If there was ever going to be a week I'd get the channel demonetized and all sorts of rubbish like that, it would be after one of those. But I was lucky at the time that I didn't have that happening. Didn't have any monetization on YouTube, so I was able to just give it to them with both barrels. Great fun.
It is funny though, like you watch they bring up the comments and all the Rangers fans are just going on and going nuts and hating everyone. And I saw a couple of people going, "Oh, I'm a Celtic fan, and I feel bad for this person," and everyone's going really hard. And I'm like, why? Like all the sympathetic people that seem to be putting messages up are all the Celtic fans.
It's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. Like we're talking about it on Monday about will Clement see out the season and everything after getting his contract extension and all the meltdown and all that sort of stuff. And for me, be careful what you wish for. Like, if let's all keep it quiet. Let's not talk about it. So he keeps his gig, and we have him there, because I think the safest thing to say is after the weekend, he looks like he's Brendan's bitch.
Yeah. There's no questions on that, is there? Right? Brendan's got his number. He's got his tactics sussed.
Yep. Well, hoofball. That's pretty much it.
That's it, man. Long ball. There was one point during the game, Rangers had like 4 people up front, 5 people at the back. Well, 4 people at the back and 1 guy in the middle of the pitch. And it was just like, oh, here we go. It's long ball time.
They were playing that. They're playing that football that you saw when you watch Man United against Liverpool, where it was like a 4-2-4. So you have 4 defenders, 2 midfielders, and then the front 4 are all keeping it compact.
Yeah.
And they were doing that at the same times there, Willie, as well. But what happens is if the centre forward steps up a bit, it opens a gap in the middle of the park, and then you rip them apart. So, yeah, great fun. And I deliberately stayed off something, and I copped a comment here on Monday's pod, Jared. So I'm just going to read the comment to you. So just getting the thing to come up here. So we're talking about the game, and we did our usual thing, talking about all the different players. And JD1 commented saying, never seem to discuss Kun. Okay, about the derby. So my comment back was, we're keeping that one for Thursday's show so Jared can wax lyrical about his man crush. So I'd like to give you the floor right now to just drool whatever you need to and just tell us how good Kun was in the derby.
See, I didn't think he was great. He's become, in that game, he was more like CCV. Like, CCV is always just really good, but you don't mention him because he's just always reliable. He does his job, and you always talk about other people who stand out. In this game, and I think I said last time I was on the pod, I was worried because it seemed like all the attacking we were doing in the first few games all came through Kun. He was scoring, it was him assisting or putting the through ball for someone else to get an assist. So this game, I was actually quite happy. Like, yeah, he assisted for the first goal that ended up being rubbed off. But then I don't think he was really involved in the next 3 games. He was like next 3 actual scoring scores. What would you call that? But he just done his job. He was out wide. He was taking on players. He was beating everyone, like running rings around people, coming back on defense. I know he came back, got the ball off people. Like, that's just what he does now. So it's just standard Kun operating. So I didn't think, of all the players, I don't think he really stood out as much as a few other players. But to me, it was just like a solid performance. So, and I think that's just what we expect now.
With Kun and what you're saying there, it was, for me, the hockey assists, as they call it in American sport, in ice hockey. Yeah. So the assist for the goal is usually, you're the one putting the direct pass in for the guy to score. In hockey, they count the pass before the pass. So the last 2 passes count as assists. That's the role Kun was playing, particularly in the first half.
Yeah.
Where the ball will go to him, then he'd play it to someone else who would then get the assist. Or what was happening was he was coming in he wasn't right out on the sideline, he was in a bit, which allowed Johnson to overlap. And if Johnson was coming in, then he was going wide. So those two were alternating where they were going and filling different lanes on the field. So he was playing a bit of a different role to what we've seen in the first few games, but I thought he did a lot of quality work off the ball. So we've got to give him some credit there too.
I think a lot of the other players on the team stepped up for this game in attacking wise, and so it just, where Kun stood out, if he'd done the exact same thing in another game, we'd be like, oh, he's amazing. He'd done the same thing, but it's just other people stepped up as well. And so I think it was just a great team performance, especially in that first half and attacking wise. Yeah.
100%. So I'll bring up some comments here. RL77, we'll touch on it earlier. Monday Rangers Rabble podcast is unmissable. Jerry Burns. Jerry Burns, morning lads. Good job, Willie. Not bad for a novice host in the pod.
Thank you very much.
RL77, what I want to know is the motivation for Celtic fans to phone in Super Scoreboard after that. Gloating. Be at the wind-up. Evening, Andrew. Hail, John. Where you from, John? Let us know. Robert Gibson. They were shite and we could have thumped them. It was 3-0 going on 5 or 6 easily.
Not if you listen to Clement. It was even. We both had the same amount of shots on target. The possession, they were right in that game according to his. I think that's another moral victory for Rangers.
Who's the snitch? Hail. Mahesh is Hatate had the highest attack contribution for Celtic in the derby, almost twice Kuhn's contribution. He gave Celtic dominance on the right. Yep, fair point. RL77, the thing is, playing the Huns is another game. Playing Beaton and Dallas is our next challenge. We've got Dan sitting in the backstage ready to come on, having a drink of water, playing with his beard, all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to make him sit there a little bit longer. Andrew Galea, Maida was the best player on the pitch.
Nah.
Bernardo.
And Dan, do that again with the old beard scratching. There you go. Welcome.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hail. It's a pleasure to finally make it for this evening. How are we?
Bloody brilliant, mate. Bloody brilliant. We can actually hear your voice, and Jared's just shaking his head like, no.
Yeah, I didn't really have any dramas. I just wanted to build some suspense, let Gerard think he was going to get a night off without me, but here we are. So,
yep.
I just spent the first 12 minutes talking about Kuhn.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, is that it?
That's why Jared's got a wonky camera at the moment because, an extra leg of the camera thing's popped up.
No comment.
Charlie Lacey is saying here the possession was in and around their box for them. Robert Gibson, I've spoken to Clement's ice dealer and he's promised not to supply him anymore before media interviews. Jerry is saying I thought Bernardo was immense. Michael Ross Maida is brilliant and unique. Here we go. Dan on in the 89th minute. More like
sub.
Sub someone off in the 22nd minute or something like that.
Someone was absolutely fucking dire, and I wasn't even warmed up yet. They said, get out there quick. So but that's all right. We'll see if we can knock home a couple of goals. And
Ripper.
I don't know. What's the rest of that analogy? Just draw it out for as long as we want.
Yeah, something like that. Yep, totally. So what I was planning on us having a chat about on tonight's pod is have a little chat about the derby. Done that, been there. So the thing that I want to focus on is two things. We want to talk about the Champions League upcoming, and we want to talk about the transfer window and rehash that and how we think things have evolved. So what I'll do is I put together two lists today. So the first list I grabbed is the Celtic squad from the 23-24 season, so last season's one. These are all the players that we've got on here, how many appearances they had. I managed to get all this off, wasn't Celtic Wiki, it was some other thing similar to that. So every player who's took the pitch, including those who departed during last season. So I've got the whole breakdown there. And then I've got this season's squad so far, and then we'll talk about the actual squad where we're at now going into the Champions League. So, end of last season, we had 3 goalkeepers in Joe Hart, Scott Bain, Benjamin Siegrist. Now, current for if I can get this thing on my screen to work properly. Currently, our goalkeepers we have Kasper Schmeichel, Viljami Sinisalo, and Scott Bain. So, Willie, how do you think we've gone in the goalkeeper situation at the moment? Upgrade or about the same in your opinion? What are your thoughts at this point in time from last season's goalkeeping rotation to now?
Oh, it's definitely an improvement. I mean, Hart was as good a keeper as Hart was for us. Schmeichel's an improvement on him. Yeah, maybe slightly older, but He's experienced, he's dependable, and he's great with the ball at his feet. The only question I have over his signing was how it took so long. Sinisalo, again, pre-season, looked good with the ball at his feet. So, and I think he has all the ingredients to be a solid first-team keeper if his chance comes along. So for me, it's definite improvement in that position. Like Scott Bain, consistent. He must be good at the old magic tricks with the cards and the bus and the away games and that. Like, so keep him there for that. But yeah, definitely improved.
Or Bain's got nude photos of Peter Lawwell or someone. For some
Yeah.
reason, he's still getting everything. So, what we'll do, Jared, Dan, do you have anything to add on the goalkeeper thing, or do you just want to talk about it as a group at the end?
No, look, the only thing I'd add to what Willie said was the improvement in terms of Cash Michael, who looks to make us, I think, a little more press resistant because he is so much better with his feet, and I don't think anyone's really debating that. But I'm also really excited because being a goalkeeper as well, it's something I pay a lot of attention to. But there is a clear progression. There's a plan. Last year it was Joe Hart, Bain, Siegrist, whatever. Let's just hope nothing happens to Hart. Obviously, we don't want anything to happen to Schmeichel, but we've got, our choice for this season, potentially the next 2 seasons. And then, ideally you're looking at Sinisalo coming in and taking over that spot. Bain, he's there because he's Scottish and he's quite happy. We all know that. That's fine. Third keeper is the best job in football. I've always said it. But there is that progression there now. The plan is there. We can see what's meant to happen. And, if it works out, then the history will look even more fondly on that recruitment period for the 2 keepers.
Anything to add, Jared, for the keepers?
No, that's pretty much it. Upgrade because we are looking to the future, which I think is great. And one thing I thought we were going to drop off was Hart's leadership, but because we got Schmeichel, I think that's a like for like, and he's a little bit better. So yeah, excellent in the keepers.
Happy days. So Jerry Burns in the comments is saying goalie's better. RL77 saying, and we've still got Super Joe in the tunnel before games. And Robert Gibson saying, keepers are better and Bain is taking over as Dermot Desmond's fluffer from McCarthy. Had to bring that one up. So now we'll go. So Jared, we'll come to you on the defenders to start with. So Alistair Johnson, Greg Taylor, Lagerbelka, Scales, Naroski, Kobayashi, Carter Vickers, Ralston, Welsh, and Mitchell Frame played 1 game. So he gets on the list. And then if we look at the current squad, we're looking at Alistair Johnson, Taylor, Scales, Austin Trusty, Alex Vella, Naroski, Carter Vickers, Adam Montgomery, Ralston, and Welsh. So what's your thoughts there?
I think we've cut a lot of fluff, and I'm glad the 2 main positions we really needed was another centre back and another left back for a while. We've got them in, but I can't really give an honest appraisal when we haven't seen them kick a ball yet.
Exactly.
But the holes have been filled. And hopefully, and one good thing about bringing in Alex Vela is Taylor has improved as well. So we've improved our current left back while bringing in some competition. So hopefully, everything looks like this new left back, the kid is going to be pretty solid, but you never know when you come up here. It's a different game than playing for Barcelona or Spain's second team. Trusty has had a lot of negative comments, but he was playing in England, getting flogged and relegated for a whole season. So it's kind of hard to play defense when you're on one of those teams. It's a big learning experience for him, but he's still an international centre back with Carter Vickers. So at this point in time, we got in a centre back, we got in a left back, we kept everyone else, and I trust Brendan Rodgers that he's brought in the right people. So I think we're on the right track for defense from last year.
So if we look at the defenders that have gone out, Lagerbalk is gone. He's on loan. And then we've still got Johnson, Taylor, Scales, Naroski, and Carter Vickers, Ralston, and Welsh. So we've kept a heap of them there. The ones that are Kobayashi's gone. And then when you look down the bottom further, I'm just seeing who else is left that we potentially have there. Yeah, no one of any real substance is the easiest way I'd look at it. So I think you pretty much spotted it on. Like the only two major losses or whatever, anyone that's played this season is, we haven't seen much there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. We've had 5 defenders play. That's it. So it's been pretty consistent there. So yeah, I'm not really it's hard to say what Trusty and what I'm gonna butcher it again. Valet, Valla. There's about 4,000 different ways to say his name by the looks of it. So yeah, we'll see what he's like once he actually plays. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Dan, throw to you.
Yeah, fairly similar overall. You'd have to hope that the left centre back is an improvement. That said, we haven't really seen enough of Austin Trusty, or no, I haven't. And I'm not going to hold his Premier League season at Sheffield United against him, given how poorly things were going there. Vala. I noticed someone in the comments said sounded like you're making him sound Maltese. Alex Vela. I thought we had. I think he's the head of the bikies at Comancheros or something, isn't he? However you pronounce it, it's an interesting one. A loan deal from Barcelona. It's like, well, okay, let's see what we've got. I like that it's more importantly, we've got depth at that position now where we were, a Greg Taylor injury away from a makeshift back four, which, nobody wants. And, it spurs him on. I'm an unabashed Greg Taylor fan, so anything that makes him push harder, work harder, I'm still, not sure what the situation is there long term, but for this season at least, Taylor and Vale are two, are good stocks at left back. Just call him Alex. Beyond that, the guys that went out, no one a major loss. Kobayashi, guys like that. We're not going to miss them. We don't. If they go on to do well done. But it wasn't happening here one way or the other for various reasons. So overall, I think it's a slight improvement and could be a dramatic improvement if A, Alex does well, or B, Austin Trusty is the man.
And Willie, you got anything to add?
Nah, just I think we all said we needed left centre back and a left back, and that's what we got. Austin Trusty, yeah, he had a hard season last season, but he was Birmingham's Player of the Year the season before that. And the Barca boy, well, we yet to see him play a game, but from what I read and sort of scouting reports on him, he likes to sort of stick to the touchline and get high at the pitch, which is different from what Greg Taylor does. So it gives you that versatility at the back now. So I'm quite excited to see what either of them can do once they get a game. So just see them with our own eyes and judge them for ourselves. But until we actually see them, it's difficult to guess.
All I'm going to say is when Alistair Johnson came in, how well he performed in press conferences and he sounded the part before he took the field and has done the job on the field. If Alex is anywhere near has the same sort of thing going on with how well he's doing in the media stuff and in the press conferences, we're going to have an absolute gun for us out there. But at the same time, he could just be, the next coming of Ball and Collie. But anyway, I crack myself up sometimes.
You're right about AJ though. I think I even said it in our group chat this week. AJ is just the consummate, like the media guys at the club must love him because he's peppy, he's happy, he's good to go, he's safe, he's not going to say anything silly. He gives a little bit of insight. He's interesting. He's your media guy's absolute dream.
Yep, 100%. So what we'll do is we will go and have a look at the midfield. So I'm coming to you with this, Dan. So this could be a bit of an interesting one. It's been a bit of change in the middle of the park. So last season it was Home, McCarthy, Owada, Bernardo, O'Reilly, Hatate, McGregor, Kelly, and they listed Jamesy Forrest as a midfielder, even though to me he's a forward in our system. And then you look at the current squad, and it is McCowan, Home, Engels, Bernardo, Shaw, Hatate, McGregor. They've listed Jamesy in the middle again, so we'll stick with it. And Francis Turley. Also, having departed is Matt O'Reilly. So we had him, but he's gone. So
I was going to say, has there been much turnover in the midfield? Has there been any key transfers in that area, or I'm struggling to remember. No, look, obviously Matt O'Reilly was our player of the season last year, and you're losing him. You're always going to suffer for that. That said, great bit of business. It's the perfect implementation of this player trading model that everyone likes to talk about these days. And overall, I think if you look at that midfield, I was surprised that Iwata was moved on. I'm not going to lie. I like the investment in Engels. As soon as I started watching Engels and sort of doing what I could to scout him as a layman, I was sold on Arnie Engels. We made the Paolo Bernardo deal permanent. We brought in Luke McCowan. I'm just an unabashed Luke McCowan fan. I thought between sort of him and Blair Spittle last year were probably the two best midfielders outside Celtic and Rangers. And I can just, I can see him being a good, promising sort of squad player for Celtic for some time. So are we one short? Are we potentially a difference maker short? I think yes. Depending on how you want to set things up, I think you could easily have room for another quality player there. But that said, I think there is still some time and some expectation for Odin Thiago Holm to improve and to stake a claim for some minutes and some time in that midfield as well. It's more than enough for what we're going to face in Scotland in terms of Europe. A secondary holding midfielder potentially, or someone that can slot in and sort of pivot into that 8 role maybe. But overall, I'd say we're about as good as we can be in the midfield. So call it a wash.
I look at it going, the pretty much Home. I think he'll be potentially the long-term Kelmac replacement. Like long-term, but he's going to take all. I think he needs one of those loans within Scotland's second half of the season to get a run of games into him, because he barely played for us last year, and then he's like number 6 on the list of our midfielders. But other than that, I think we cleared out a lot of the dead wood, and made a few tough calls. But Willie, what's your thoughts?
No, I'm actually excited by the signings we've made for the middle of the park. Engels looks like a quality player. Really looking forward to seeing what he can do. I think the additions we have made, we've just given ourselves a bit more versatility in there. We've been playing with a 6, an 8, and a 10, with sort of Hatate in at the 8, O'Reilly at the 10, Kalmack at the 6. But with the signings we've made, you can mix that combination up in any different way, and they can all slot into that. And that you'll see that as games pan out. Players will the 3 of them will just interchange in their positions, depending on which 3 combinations out there. But you could also play it completely differently too. Like if we go out and play Dortmund away, you could play a double pivot. You could play Kalmack and Bernardo, both protecting the back 4, with someone like Hatate or Engels in front of them. You could also, if you're playing, I don't know, Slovan Bratislava at home, you could play 2 number 10s. You could put Kalmack in the middle and have Hatate attacking the space between the left centre half and the left back, and have, say, Engels attacking the space between the right centre back and the right back. Like I said, the versatility, it's there, and it's good to see. Again, with Greg Taylor inverting, you can create a box midfield. I'm quite excited by the signings we've made. So yeah, and I'm really looking forward to see sort of different ways we can use it, because Brendan Rodgers is very, very tactically astute. Hopefully, we'll get to see some different ways that we can show that. He can show that with the combinations he can pick the midfield at this season.
What you're saying there, Willie, about Slovan Bratislava, Mahesh is actually having a chat about that in the comments at the moment. So he's saying that Celtic only have 2 Euro level mids based on the data, Kalmak and Engels. And then later on here, he's gone, for example, wouldn't take Bratislava for granted. Bratislava outgunned Celtic in the midfield based on player performance metrics. Their forward line looks weak and Celtic have Kyogo. And then a bit further on here, so Michael asked Mahesh how many Euro level mids they have and Bratislava have. And yeah, I'm just trying to get this comment to come up. And he's saying Bratislava have 4 Euro level mids, Celtic are outnumbered. So then, as we're saying here, Bratislava, Young Boys and Bruges at home look good on paper for us. So I think Rodgers will have the team ready for that and have it all scouted. But Jared, I'll give you the final thoughts on the midfield.
Sad to see Matt Riley go. Obviously, he was one of my favorite players the last few seasons. But not overly worried after watching the game on the weekend with our midfield playing, and that wasn't even with any of the new signings come in. Didn't really get to see a lot of the new guys, but I mean, McGowan, being a Celtic fan, with the blonde hair was very confusing with him and Maeda, because both of them just ran around and I didn't know which one was which. So it was good he was actually putting in the effort. Engels, in the short time I saw him play, it looked like he was watching what people were doing. Kyogo was, when he came back, Engels was actually getting in and filling space where Kyogo was. So already it kind of looks like he kind of knows his role. Or maybe I didn't know what I was looking at, but it just looked like he slotted straight in. So yeah, very good. Get rid of people who aren't going to be playing and brought in some, this word that was put around, quality. So I think we're set up pretty well for the Champions League as well. I was going to say the league, but we're already sorted in the league. I think we're got a couple of good players in, like your Willie was saying, versatility for the Champions League.
The thing that impressed me about Engels this game on the weekend, it was a small sample size, is when Rodgers first come in, he said, we need size and we need power. And then you look at Engels, he's just massive in our midfield compared to the rest of it. It was like when Rogic came in, he was like 6'2" or whatever his height was, and in the midfield. And then you got Engels out there compared to Kalmak and Hatade, and that he just looks massive out there. So it's good to see. We've got something a bit different as well. Club record signing, different body type to what we have, more of the natural athlete but can play football. It's going to be interesting. Midfield's looking good though, in my opinion. And then we'll jump on to the forward line. So James DeForest, we've already got him there, covered off in the midfield, but we'll chuck him in the forwards. Palmer, Kyogo, Ida, Kun, Yang, this was last season, Maeda, Rocco Vada. And then last season, there's a whole bunch of guys that departed anyway, so we won't even bother. So that's what we had end of last season. I can get this thing to get off my screen because it's frozen on me. This season, yeah, we all know where we stand on the squad at the moment. So yeah, we've really scaled back our forwards where we had so many. Now it's Forrest, Palmer, Kyogo, Ida, Kun, Yang, Dazen, and Mikey Johnson gone. So, Mikey's actually left, but yeah, the rest of that squad there, I think every single player except for Yang is a functional member of our squad. So I'll go to you, Willie. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's no real change from the tail end of last season. Adam Ida's come in. He's a proven line-up scorer at our level. We'll be able to see what he can do in the Champions League. But he gives us that different threat to Kyogo. It's just sort of complements the squad. Kuhn's come on a game. I suppose you could use the old cliche. It's like a new signing out there on the right. He's got Jamesy Forrest to sort of back him up. Maeda's out on the left. Yeah, Palmer, he's probably not no competition for his place out on the left. You've got Palmer. I don't really see Palmer challenge. I don't think Brendan fancies Palmer much. But then you've got Young, who's sort of float, who can play either side, who's the third man for either position. So it's not really changed, but it was pretty potent last season. So and it started this season pretty potently too. So I'm relatively happy with what we've got going on up front.
Yeah, I think off the back of that, Willie, like there's comments here from Jerry saying forward's not much different now. And as you were just saying there, it's pretty much the same thing. We've just got rid of a lot of the guys around the outsides there. Like O wasn't really doing much. So if you take the money you get for O and the money you get from Mikey, that's pretty much paid for, what's his name, for Eder. So that's got him covered off there. So, yeah, we've done well there. But, Jared, we'll come to you for your thoughts on the forward line.
Well, we haven't really done anything. When you look at it, I would have liked to have a third striker. Like if we had kept Rocco Vata or someone young to be a third striker, he ended up leaving. And it's like, all right, that's fine. We've got Maeda. Maeda's a great third striker and you don't have to waste a spot on him. But then what happens if Maeda's playing striker is he can't play left wing as well. So then we're missing a winger. So I would have just I said it was a luxury signing if we got another attacking player with what we needed, the Matt Riley replacements and the backs and the keepers. But yeah, I think it would have just been nice to have just another winger. So if something does happen, like right now we're fine, but one player goes down and we have to move people around, then I'm getting a bit worried, especially when we've got Champions League and everything coming up. But yeah, it looks like you said, Kuhn is like a new signing. He's playing great. Forrest coming on end of last year, like he was pretty much, everyone was like, oh, this is his retirement tour. He's just going to sit on the bench and collect a check, and then came on and was like our best player for the last part of the year. So that's great. I did think Yang needed to go on a loan, but I think we just don't have enough players that we have to keep him just in case, like in case of emergency, break Yang. And Palmer, I think a lot of people underestimate Palmer. Come at me in the comments because I know there's people in here that hate him. And I think maybe Brendan Rodgers might be one of them. But I mean, he started off his career really good, got injured, went down, started this season, and looked like he was actually improved from last year and fixed a few of his mistakes, got injured, and is back down in the pecking order. So I think if he gets a chance, he'll be good. But yeah, I think we're just one signing short in the forwards.
I'm channeling Jared right now with the pen just to get his attention. So what you're saying with that one signing short, Mateus however you say it, Bogus from LAFC, that's the signing we're short. Like if we signed him, then that means Maeda can come in and be that third string striker if we need it, because you've got him that can play on the wing. And then he's challenging it. If Maeda's playing as on the winger, he's challenging for that. He can play in the 10. He covers a lot of positions across that front three. So that's the signing that we missed that would have filled that hole there that you're talking about, Jared. So those talking about Palmer, Robert Gibson, Palmer's been great on the bench and staying there. Wanker extraordinaire. Andrew Galea, Palmer can be good if he'd learn to pass the bloody ball. Robin Lau was saying Palmer was decent when he first came, got injured, has no consistency. Deserves another chance. He's better than Yang. That's saying something. I keep saying I think Palmer's, a warm weather player. He doesn't like it when it gets cold. Robert Gibson, Palmer, world-class wanker. So, yeah, that's what you meant to some people that don't like it. So, Dan, what's your thoughts on the forward line?
Yeah, look, nothing groundbreaking compared to what the guys have already said. We probably feel one short. Big sum for Ida. I'm happy to have him. I have to believe that Brendan believes he's going to work with him to improve. on the wings. I don't think Palmer or Yang are in Brendan's long-term plans. He didn't seem interested in them at all. But as Jared said, we don't really have anyone else to throw in. So that's probably why they're there and they haven't been loaned out. We are, and I don't think I'm, breaking any news here, one Kyogo injury or either injury away from being in a fair bit of strife, particularly if it's a long-term injury. But, with what we've got two very, very good strikers, sort of two different number nines, two very different players at that top of the pitch. But beyond that, I think it's light on, it's light on. The wings, again, a little bit light on. I don't want to get to the point where we're going into the tail end of the season and relying on Jamesy Forrest to play absolute blinders again, just to pull it out of the bag. For his own sake, as much as anything, I just want to let him be as chill as possible and, get through the end of the season. But overall, January or into the next season, you'd hope there's a little bit more renovating in the forward line.
I saw this comment from Andrew Galea. Tilio is better than Yang.
Ability-wise, yes, but your biggest ability is your availability. And if you won't even go back to Scotland,
Going to be a flog, then go play for Melbourne City. Boom, said it.
yeah, looks fair. The Zionists in Melbourne City tonight. So, sorry, they just signed some hardcore Israeli IDF guy. So,
yeah.
Is his name near beaten by any chance? No.
Sorry.
Is his name near beaten by any chance?
No, but similar levels of fanaticism apparently. So,
yeah.
I might have to bust out the Palestinian flag for Sydney FC games as well.
Just get out of the game, sit in the front of the flag.
It's all right. We like a bit of controversy. Other Celtic podcasts are making controversial statements this week and getting all sorts of social media traction. So maybe we need to.
Well, I haven't had time
find our
to
own
listen to
niche.
any silly podcasts this week because I've been listening to other podcasts.
Yeah, Willie is an addict. You missed the whole intro at the start there, Dan.
Oh, I know he's all about his follow and his heart on hand and his fucking Rangers rabble or whatever they fucking call themselves. I'll listen to a couple too. I'm not going to lie.
So with the squad overall, I'll just do this as to finish it off here. So we have 3 goalkeepers. We've got 9 defenders. We have 7 midfielders, and one of them is Odin Holm, who barely plays. And then it's forwards. We've got 6 forwards. So we've really thinned out our squad. On loan, we have Oluwayemi's at Dunfermline. Bernabé's still our player, even though he's over in Brazil. Lagerbelka's gone to FC 20. Quan's at Hibs. Tilio's at Melbourne City. Johnny Kenny is at Shamrock Rovers. Those two pretty much living elsewhere now. So, yeah, I think overall we've really done well to bring our club and our squad down from almost 40 players down to the 25, 26, whatever it is. Andrew Galea was saying home needs to find a new home. And then Pegleg saying home badly needs to be loaned out. He's never going to improve or develop kicking his heels. He's too good to play even for the B team. So, yeah, he definitely needs one of those loans. And then Robin saying later this morning, saw no Odin Home in the Champions League squad, which is a shame as he's got quality. Yeah, we'll touch on the Champions League squads the next thing we're going to talk about. So I'll bring up a few more comments here. Robert Gibson saying, love Tilio. Melbourne really suits him. Hope he stays there, midget. And then we've got Pegler's. I never saw Tilio kick a ball for Celtic. Robert's piling on saying he's tiny. Robin Lau saying, not saw enough of Tilio to say how good he is. You Aussie boys will know better. Yang can be good in his day, but comes back to consistency. Yang's not good enough either. Like, Tilio skill-wise is good enough. Mentally, his mindset and his way he does it, not good enough. It's pathetic the way he's basically, I'm going to say it, the way he's bitched out on coming back and trying to earn his jersey. So that's pissed me off. The fact that I wore a tiara for him for an episode and then he goes and does that, he's like dead to me.
You've shown more fight than he has.
Exactly.
Just on the
And
A-League, though, I'm pretty sure the Wanderers are about to announce Juan Mata's signing as well. So,
Juan Mata.
yeah, former Man United, Chelsea.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. It's interesting.
I'd
Andrew
say that's the
Gallier.
announcement they're about to make.
I'm watching the Aussies now. Tilio nowhere near the national team.
We need the anthem. That's just because the camera went along at head height and he wasn't.
And then if you're talking about other things going on at the moment, I'm just looking at Storm smashing the Broncos on my notifications. It's great, the rugby league. But anyway, so yeah, Champions League groups that we've got. I had the group here to bring up on the screen. Oh, sorry, there's no groups now. The fixtures, and I forgot to upload it. So bear with me a moment, and we can. Nah, she's gone. So yeah, we've got some decent games in there anyway. So, what's your thoughts on the overall draw there, Willie?
I think it's a pizza draw. I don't think you could have got a better draw. I said last week with Dan, we kind of went through who we would want and who we would want to avoid. We both had Villa on our want list. I had Dortmund in there, but looking at the rest of the teams, there's some very winnable home games in there. And I think there's points you can pick up on the away days too. I look at Dinamo away. That's a sort of fixture you would look at and say you can get a point there, maybe. Villa away too. Who's to say we can't go there and raise our game and get a point? So I think I'm very optimistic about this campaign. Looking at the signings we've made, yeah, all positive here. Like,
what do you think, Jared?
When you look at everyone's looking at how many points you might need to get into that 24, and everyone's saying around about the 10-point mark. And when you look at the games, yeah, I can see as it's very doable. And even the games that you might go, oh, we're going to Atalanta, I'm like, I think we could get a point from that. Whereas like maybe last year I'd be like, oh well, let's just not blow it out. So I don't know if I'm being overconfident, but yeah, I can see us getting more than 10 points.
I think for me, the only game that we were looking at that didn't go our way when you're looking at the pots and everything was getting Villa from pot 4. That's the only one that could have been easier for us. Like every other one in there, like playing Dortmund in Dortmund's going to be a great away day. They were the finalists last year, and Atalanta won the Europa League. So they are tough teams, but at the same time, as you're saying, Jared, we could potentially pick up a point in Atalanta. If we go, Dortmund's going to be one of those games for every team, anyone who plays them, where it's going to be tough to pick up points there. So if we go there and don't get anything, as long as we don't get blown out, we're okay. So yeah, the draw overall has been very, very friendly. And the fact of the matter that the Rangers Europa group actually looks more like a Champions League group than the group that like games than what we got is pretty funny in my opinion. But Dan, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, fairly similar. The pressure's there, I think, because there are so many winnable ties, home and away. So if we get off to a rough start, there'll be a little bit of, the usual chat and pressure that sort of builds if things aren't going perfectly. But beyond that, there are, I think even statistically, someone did the breakdown on difficulty, and I think statistically we had the softest draw. Look, it's the Champions League. There's no easy game in the Champions League. But, people are talking about Bratislava and, yep, they're, a good Slovak side. But I had a look at them the other day, and to be fair, one of their big key players is Robbie Mack, who just spent the last 2 or 3 seasons at Sydney FC. I watched him very closely. And
Nothing special.
Good player, but, yeah, the fear is not there. So without, going too overboard, I think 1967, 2025. Let's do it. I don't know. Sorry, I've been on a lot of cold and flu tablets this week. No, we'll make it into the playoff for the knockouts. I think at the very least. I think we've got the opportunity there. The draw's in our favour, and we're a good team. So
I'm going to bring up some comments here. So Pegleg saying Villa is a really tough one. A draw would be superb there. Michael Ross is saying the mighty Zelina, whoever you said, hammered Bratislava 5-0 the other day. Andrew Goulet saying they'll all be looking to pick up points against us. We'll play into our hands with our quick forwards. Robert saying, so used to being pumped in the Champions League. Ask me after Game 7. Lord Flashart, RB Leipzig will be a hard game. And Robin saying the pressure can sometimes be more so with the lesser teams than fans expect a result. Yeah, we know that from the qualifiers over the years. John, I love your thoughts here. We'll be through by the time we meet Villa. Oh, that'd be brilliant. Robert's saying the group on paper looked as easy. I pissed up. Yeah, I'll stop that there. Read it on YouTube if you want to know.
the audio listeners really missing out on that one.
Peg leggers, to be honest, guys, our form has been so piss poor in Europe. I can't take anything for granted. One game at a time for me. Yep. Atalanta will be very tough. No one's mentioning them from Michael Ross. I think you'll find 3 of the 4 of us mentioned Atalanta on here.
First.
No one is, but we are.
It's going to be an interesting one. That would have been funny. Say if Matt O'Reilly had stayed around with us and then we get them in the draw and he gets to go there and play against them when they put in so many ridiculous bids for him. That would have been pretty amusing, but, we'll play for that. Both teams can play for that. We don't have Matt O'Reilly Cup.
And I think, I know that people are being a little bit pessimistic, and I probably would have been too, because last season we could have said, we got a really good draw, and then we dropped some stupid games that we shouldn't have dropped. But you look at how we were playing last season at that time. We were terrible, and we still managed to get close in those games. You look at the team now, you look at Brendan done an interview saying he tried the tactics that we're going to be using against these Champions League teams in preseason against Manchester United, Man City and Chelsea. And you look how good we looked there. Apparently, he's already setting up different tactics for these Champions Leagues. We're in form, and this isn't even bringing in these new players. So I'm a little bit probably more optimistic than normal because of those few little factors.
Random thought. Go on.
No, I'm just going to add on to what Jared said, is the versatility we have now, as I've said earlier when we've been through the signings, it all points in positive directions, you know what I mean? You look at Dortmund. Dortmund got a massive stadium, but some of the away games, Villa, 40,000 stadium, Dynamo's, it's just a 20,000 seater stadium, Atalanta's 20,000. There's not any big intimidating atmospheres you're heading out to, so other than Dortmund, so I can only see positives coming out of this. It's going to be exciting. Yeah, we might lose some, we might win some, we might draw some, but I don't think it's going to be a complete and utter catastrophe. So I'm very positive about it all.
So what's it going to take to get through then to the between the 9 through to 24? How many points do you reckon? There's all sorts of speculations saying you need between. Is it going to be 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points? What are you're thinking, Willie?
9 will definitely see in the playoff side. And I would set a target. Looking at that group, I would be looking at between 10 and 12 points to take away. But I would say 9 would certainly see you pushing 24th place, if not in 24th place.
It's plenty of coefficient points too. Got to love it. Jared, what are you thinking?
I just went through the list and scored all the games, and I've got us 13 points.
Willie, you're about to jump in and say something there?
What I was going to say is we're going to need to get some sort of points. Looking at the group the No Surrender Monkeys got, then they're definitely not going to be picking up many points. So we're going to need to do something this year. Right?
Hey, credit where credit's due. They've done all that heavy lifting for us to succeed in playing the Champions League this year. So, Thank you so much for their
monkeys
efforts.
and organ grinders.
So Robin's saying they reckon 10 points should defo see you through. Michael Ross is saying 10 at a minimum. We got 4 last season. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Andrew's saying this team has been together a while now. Only Quinn and Scales are not in Andrew's team. So, yeah. Dan, what are you thinking? How many points are we going to get through?
Well, Jared said 13. He looks like a man who knows math. I'm going to go 13. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Fuck knows.
I was going to say 11. I
don't know what's going to happen next week, let alone all
Yeah.
the way through. But no, well, if he's going to say 13, you're going to say 11. I'll say 12. And somewhere along the line, we'll prices right it and we'll get it right.
Fair enough. So the Champions League group squad was up last night. So, Willie, you sent this one through to us and before. So if they're in blue, they're association trained. If they're in green, they're club trained. We've got to have 8 of them. So we currently have Scott Bain as association trained, Callum McGregor club trained, Luke McGowan is association trained, Ralston club trained, Greg Taylor's association trained, Forrest is club trained, and Welsh is club trained. So all up, we've got 1, 2, 3 association trained and 1, 2, 3, 4 club trained. So by the looks of that, we'll probably have to bump someone from the B list up.
It's already been done. It is Adam Montgomery.
Montgomery, there you go.
Adam Montgomery is in and Thiago Holm is out.
Yep. That's where we're going with that, Jared. I was going to say, so who's out from the midfield? You've got Home on the list, so it'd be something. I thought it was Home came out, and we'd either put Monty in or we'd put I was thinking it'd be Monty or it would be, who did I say this before? Armstrong was one, or I was going to say
Frame.
Maybe Turley had come in, or Frame or someone like that. But yeah, that makes sense with what you've said there. So you happy with that squad? Who's been listed there, Willie?
Yeah, no complaints on that, like none whatsoever.
Dan?
Yeah, it's best we got.
Jared, I'm going to throw you a different one here because you just said about Home and everything. So what do you think of the tops with the white back for Europe?
Yeah, I don't mind them.
Easier
I know
to
people
read
will be like, oh yeah. At least it's not green on green. Something a bit different.
Yeah,
I don't mind it.
What do you think, Willie?
Yeah, it's definitely all right. I like it. I like it a lot. Like it's a bit better than the black. On the
reminds me of an AFL jumper where what they'll have is if they've got hoops or whatever, and then on the back where the numbers are, it's always white underneath, it's solid, or whichever color their uniform is. Reminds me of an AFL jumper, one for the Aussies over here, but I don't like breaking up the hoops, but that's the rules. So yeah, there you go.
It's always been like that on the Champions League top site.
Yeah,
I like the fonting as well in the name and number. It's nice. Looks sharp.
yeah. Looks class. Will you be able to buy those tops?
Oh, come on. Of course. It's money.
That's exactly what I said it for. Yeah.
I think that font is Franklin Gothic. If you want to, if you like that font, I think it's Franklin Gothic.
Yeah, at least it's not Times New, not Times New Roman, Comic Sans. There you go.
Yeah.
Comic Sans.
Jared's going to open his Facebook later, and it's going to be buy your match Celtic Champions League match tops with the white back and the coloured tops.
I'm going to expect my phone's been listening to me this whole podcast, the way they do, and I'm going to get all these ads for the little DH Gate suppliers doing all this anyway. So RL77
help groups.
So RL77 Broken Hoops, Crazy Madness, Robert Gibson. There'll be another release from Merchandise FC. Peg Legs, Where Are the Hoops? Michael, no one wants a broken hoop. The only positive thing I can find on that top is that as we said, it's not black writing on a green hoop. So that's the only positive I can see on it, but I'll probably still buy that top anyway, let's be honest. So, boys, I'm thinking next Thursday's pod, we'll be having a week off. Definitely doing it on the pot noodle and the weekend review. There won't be any of them shows. So I'm thinking, do we have a game next weekend or not? I haven't looked that far ahead. So
Nah, it's international week, isn't it?
I think international,
Yeah.
so we'll probably just have a week off, everyone, and then be back the following week to build into our next game. So I just thought we'll have this little chat on air here so you're all aware of it. But in the meantime, if you haven't done so, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on the video, and yeah, we appreciate you all tuning in each and every week, and we'll be back in about a week's time. Sorry, next week off, the week after, and off we go. So thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll go for a final thought. So I'll go to you first, Dan.
Look, I appreciate it. I'm looking for the early mark. The past 4 days have been a literal nightmare for me as a severe sufferer of man flu. For the first time, I've also had 2 kids under the age of 2 who've both been unwell with the flu as well, and a wife with the flu. So my only thought is to get through to the end of this, go to bed, and wake up tomorrow, or not. If I didn't wake up tomorrow, I'd be okay with that as well. I've got good life insurance. The kids will be fine. And, I did buy them just a bunch of new Celtic gear. So they're all set. I've done what I can as a father already. And I'd be, if I was to shuffle off this mortal coil tonight, then, I'll go a happy man right after a derby win.
Okay, dark. That was a dark one. So, Willie, over to you for a final thought.
I don't think I'm going to die, just for the record, but
final thought for me is I hope you don't die, Dan. But final thought for me is TV recommendation. It is Rings of Power season 2. It's a bit of a masterclass. Pretty good. Enjoying it so far.
Do you need to watch season 1 first, or just go straight to season 2 though?
You need to watch season 1. Yeah.
Is that because it's being filmed down the road from your house, Willie, or what?
I'm on the orcs. I'm an extra, like all the makeup
In the background.
You put makeup on?
Nah. Just
He's get his top off and he's good to go.
that's me. Yeah.
Looking sharp in that new top too, mate.
It's a classic top. I'm really enjoying it. I just came the other day and I've been looking for an excuse to put it on. Just come home from work. There's no point putting it on then, is there? Like,
Dan, you got people lining up here for you. So Robert's asking, can you have your car? Pegleg's asking, can you have your commie hat?
Help yourselves. If you're desperate for a 2014 Toyota Hilux that's got 2 kids seats in the back of it, by all means, go for it. Can't say it's too exciting, but you're killing me here, literally now.
Jared, you got a final thought?
Yeah, I just want to say goodbye to a Celtic legend. It looks like he's been given the McCarthy treatment. Liam Shaw. I checked Celtic's page the other day, and he was on there in the midfield, and he is now not on there. And rumors are he's actually just been released, and no one has said anything. So
have you been on Shaw?
Farewell, Liam Shaw.
turns out we're training tomorrow.
Yeah, I didn't mean to look for Liam Shaw. I was looking for other people, and I saw Liam Shaw in the team list on the Celtic FC page, and I was like, Liam Shaw, what the hell is he doing there? And then when Jared mentioned it before, and I was like, wait a minute. I went and looked, and it's like he's no longer on there, and he's not out on loan. So I think he's just being quietly released.
Dust in the wind, mate.
Yeah.
That's all I've got to say. Off you go. My final thought is, to quote Taylor Swift, I'm the problem, it's me. Because at work, I started a job, people left, hired people, now they're left. It's got to be me. Seriously, it's got to be me. So anyway,
We're all still
Thanks
here.
everyone for tuning in. Ho ho, and back in a couple of weeks.
Hail, hail.
Yeah.
Hell, how?
Hooroo.